Brian finally get dumped was one of the happiest days of my life. And knowing that for the next episodes, I might not ever have to see him, just made my Christmas. Didn't we tell you guys that having the conversation about religion was incredibly important? But now look at you two. Sunny wants Veah to convert and Veah does not want to convert. Hello everyone and welcome back to Chisme Corner. As always, before we keep going, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And at the end of the video, let me know your thoughts on this episode. Yes, my setup is different today. I'm not sure about my background just yet. I might change it completely. I love my plants, so they might just stay there. And for Coco, I can't seem to get rid of him. Every time I take him off, you guys ask me for him. So here he is. The first couple we get is Brian and Ingrid, and we still see Ingrid walking away from Brian. She's still upset about all the things that he said. And Brian is telling us,
I've been through several relationships already that have been take.
He says that he's proud of himself for putting his foot down and making Ingrid understand that, this is not what he wants in his life. Again, Brian is doing this thing where he says that he put his foot down, he gave, and he gave, but he never takes into consideration all the things that Ingrid did for him. When we check in with Ingrid, she's of course crying. You can tell that she's clearly upset about the situation because
ele não sente o mesmo que eu sinto. Talvez para ele eu não passo de uma.
I think I said this in my last video and I still believe that is the case, that I think Ingrid did have feelings for Brian. I don't think this was just, get a green card situation. I feel like Ingrid was falling for Brian, and Brian unfortunately did a lot of things that pushed Ingrid away. And at the end of the day, that is his fault. Ingrid saw this as a relationship and Brian saw this as an exchange.
No ponto que tem, a relacionamento acabou para mim.
I was extremely happy when I heard Ingrid said that the relationship was over for her, but I don't believe a lot of the things that come out from the cast members because, for example, Faith, she says, I'm done with Lauren, and then she goes back with Lauren. You have Ingrid saying she's done with Brian, and then she goes back with Brian.
I was hoping to leave here with our relationship stronger than ever. Instead, last night, we broke up.
Even after all the things that they have been through, Brian really thought that going to Recife was going to make their relationship better. He was under the impression that after all the lies and all those occasions where he did things he wasn't supposed to do, things were going to be in a better place. Brian called Ingrid last night because he just doesn't like the way that things ended. And instead of him saying, I want to apologize for calling her a passport chaser or a green card chaser.
I don't want her last memory of me to be of last night, of an argument, of an ugly Brian.
He wants her to remember him as this precious, amazing guy that we have never seen. I think the last time that we saw Niles Brian was in the first episode, and from then on, everything went downhill. So Brian makes his way to Ingrid's room, and when Ingrid lets him in, he says that he didn't plan for things to end the way that they did. And Ingrid's like, yes, but you still said those things. You said that I'm only here for a green card. How do you expect me to feel? And Brian's like, well...
Nada mal contra você e a gente tentou, não funcionou.
Right off the bat, when he said he didn't want Ingrid's last memory of him to be him, evil Brian, I knew that he was not going to her room to apologize. He called her to have the last word.
Não procurou se explicar ou entender. Tô me sentindo.
Ingrid has arranged for a taxi to pick her up, and on their way down, Brian, of course, is having his own confessional, sharing with us that he's heartbroken, that he didn't want things to end like this, that he really loved her.
This is most likely the last time I'll see her, and it's tough to say goodbye.
and I am so happy to hear those words because I hope that this is the last time I have to see you on my screen. Once they're downstairs, there's this small moment where Brian calls her over, and you can tell in Ingrid's face that she's like, okay, finally, he's going to apologize. He's going to say something that's going to make me change my mind. Nope.
Não combinou, não vai fazer o quê?
I'm sorry that we're not meant to be together. I don't hate you. It's all about him. Like, it's all about him. And that's what makes me frustrated about Brian. That it's never about how other people feel. It's about how he feels. Ingrid finally gets into the taxi, and during this time, she's sharing with us how deceived and how hurt she feels because this entire time she had known someone over the phone, and that person that presented themselves was not the person that was here in Brazil with her. And I think it's so insane to see Ingrid cry so much, and I feel for her because she feels deceived by this man that she loved so much, and she feels like a part of her is now missing thanks to all the things that happen. But that is where we left off with those two. I'm actually very thankful, as I've said many times, to see this relationship end. I am so glad that Ingrid didn't end up with Brian and that she can, I don't know, start her life all over with someone else that is not him. Now let's cover Matilda and Niles. As you guys know, Matilda and Niles are my favorites, so at times I can be a little biased. But today, Niles is on his way to ask Mr. Ark for money for the knocking ceremony because, of course, he has no money, as we saw in the previous episodes.
The conversation I had with my parents last night is still in the back of my mind.
He is never really going to get their approval as of now, and he's worried about the situation. Once he arrives to Mr. Ark's home, it was hilarious because the moment he arrives, he's already like approaching him. He's trying to go get a chair, and Mr. Ark is like, did I instruct you to go get a chair? Did I tell you that you could sit down? Did I tell you that you could blink, Niles?
Did I instruct you to go for a chair? You're not allowed to sit unless I trust you to have a seat.
He's taking his father role incredibly seriously, and Niles is like,
Just last week, Mr. Ark was a mere acquaintance. And now he's my daddy.
and he can be extremely intense. Like, I understand wanting to give people advice and trying to help them, but Mr. Ark tends to be very intense with Niles. You do this, you do that, don't blink, don't breathe, don't look at me.
You are now a Ghanaian. Number one, you are sent to marry a Ghanaian girl.
And you're here in Ghana, you need to follow our customs. And what he needs to do is at the moment that he sees his dad, in this case, Mr. Ark, he has to say, good morning, Dad. And then he has to put his hands behind his back and just wait for him to instruct him on what he needs to do. Once they start talking to each other, Mr. Ark is telling Niles about all the things that he has to do once he marries Matilda, and that he has to provide for her. He has to, abide by the law and the rules of their culture. And Niles is like, yeah, that's fine. And then Mr. Ark asks Niles this.
Are you sure you can take care of Matilda after the message?
I think this is another opportunity for Niles to say, you know what? No, I can't. But no, Niles again lies.
Yes, I will be able to.
I don't believe that Niles is able to do that just yet. You lost your job, and maybe you're able to fend for yourself, but now you're gonna have to take care of someone else, and especially because once she comes to the US, she's not going to be able to work. Now, we can say that love is all you need, but love is not gonna feed you.
May I ask you a question?
Or feel free to ask me. I'm ready to answer you.
Niles starts telling Mr. Ark that there's a lot of expenses happening, and that there's a lot of gifts that need to be given to the family. and that unfortunately,
I am going to need some financial help to make up the difference.
the moment Niles said that, you could see his face was like, what are you talking about? Because if you're telling us that you don't even have the money to pay for this wedding, what makes you think you have the money to support Matilda, which is what you're promising by marrying her?
You see, this man is still playing a joke with me.
Because how can you tell me, as an American and someone that is coming over here to marry someone, you don't have any money to marry that person, which is what we were all wondering. And I'm not saying that because Niles is an American, he needs to have money. That is a misconception that a lot of people have. But come on, like, you went over there knowing that you were going to marry Matilda. And even after you were given the opportunity to back down and not marry her, you still proceeded with that.
I believe that I will have a better job lined up as soon as I get back to the States.
After Mr. Ark asked Niles multiple times what he's going to do, because he finally told Mr. Ark that he doesn't have a job, Niles says that he did an interview, so he thinks that there's going to be a job lined up for him when he goes back to the States. And I hope that is the case. But the job market is horrible. And to say that you are sure you're going to get a job when you just did an interview, you don't even have a job offer yet. Why are you lying again, Niles?
You're going to try as soon as possible to come and take Matilda back to U.S. where you are staying.
This is another opportunity he has when Mr. Ark asks him if he's going to be able to take Matilda with him to the U.S. and how long that's going to take. Niles at first is like, well, 2 to 3 months.
I pledged Daddy, by 3 months' time, I will take Matilda from Ghana to U.S. This is what I want to do.
And Niles is like, well, actually 4 months. And Mr. Ark is like, okay, then tell me 4 months. And then he's like, well, 5 months. So he just keeps adding, 5 months, 6 months. What is it going to be in a couple days? 7 months? A year? Like, don't say that. Don't tell him. Don't give him a timeline because you don't even know how long it's going to take.
Am I making an unrealistic promise to Mr. Ark? Probably.
You could have just told Mr. Ark that you don't know, that is out of your hands. Immigration is in charge of that and there's nothing that you can do about it. But now he made a promise to Mr. Ark that he's gonna bring Matilda to the US in 5 months. And I hope, for Niles' sake, for his honor, and just so he doesn't embarrass Mr. Ark, that what he's saying actually happens. But I doubt it.
And as a responsible father and a daughter, a son-in-law from part to assist you to complete your marriage.
Says that he did it because he believes in him. He trusts him. And you just can't trust Niles. No one can trust Niles anymore. That is where we left off. I'm excited to see the wedding next episode, but at the same time, it makes me sad and angry for Matilda because she's being blindsided by Niles over and over again. Let me know what you guys think about that. Now let's move over to the next couple, Veah and Sonny. Now that Rory is on his way home, Sonny feels like he has a deeper connection with Veah.
Yes, I do feel like we are closer and we trust each other and we have finding like good bondings.
And I get it, I understand, but at the same time, I feel like it's a little bit too soon for you guys to feel like you can trust each other again after everything that has happened, but to each their own. They are shopping around because they need an outfit for Veah so that she can cover her tattoos, because this is the first time that she's going to meet Sonny's dad.
I didn't want to introduce Veah to my father because she's not a Muslim.
Not only is he strict, but he's also straightforward. So if anything comes to his head, he's just going to say it. He's not going to hold back. Once they arrive at the shop, they're looking around. Veah tries this white dress. I didn't like the dress, and Veah didn't like the dress because it also reminds her of her past.
They made us wear like really long dresses and head coverings like it was a sin.
And that family also treated her horribly, so it reminds her of all those things. And I could totally understand what she's going through, and I wouldn't want to push her to wear something that makes her relive those memories.
Babe, I'm sorry to put you in this situation, but it's not gonna be that you're gonna wear every time.
Right? That's what Sonny is telling her. But I don't necessarily believe that this is a one-time thing. Now, if this is the religion that both of you want to follow and you guys are okay with that, then it is what it is. But don't lie to her. The shop owner comes over with more dresses to show Veah, and they settle on this purple dress that does look a little bit more flattering on her. If there is one thing about Veah, is that she always feels like she's being attacked by anyone. A fly could pass by her and she's like, oh my God, the fly just looked at me. I'm being attacked. That's just Veah.
When I see her picture, she's a little bit more healthy.
What does that mean?
He mentions that she looks a little bit chubbier in pictures than she does in person. And she's just like, oh my God, he's already judging me. He's already making comments about my body and about my weight. And I don't like that one bit.
I don't know if it's just the language barrier or what, but I feel a little bit attacked.
I could understand where she's coming from, because I definitely don't like when people comment on like my weight or things like that, but you can't control what people do. And it could also be a cultural thing. I know that within like the Asian community, there might be at times where they're too blunt. I used to have this coworker that was Asian, and all the time she was super blunt and she would just tell me things how it was. Like if I was wearing a shirt that made me look a little heavier than usual, she would tell me like, you gain weight or stuff like that. And it was so annoying at times, but I also understood that it was her culture and it was where she comes from, and that's why it was like that.
I don't know why he chose in American woman, but definitely she loves Sunny.
And Sunny's dad has already made up his mind that he doesn't want Sunny to marry someone like Veah because she's American. He wants someone that is from the same culture, the same religion, but he says that he wants to give her a chance.
But you know, cover it up is good. You see, you have some tattoo.
Veah was hoping that Sunny's dad was not going to notice her tattoos due to the sleeves on the dress, but he did. It is not allowed in their religion, and not only that, but the Bible also says that tattoos are forbidden. So he's trying to convince her to, in the future, take the tattoos off. And the moment that he tells her, you know, tattoos are not allowed, Veah says to him,
Sunny likes them.
I don't think so. I know very well for me.
and I believe that. I am 100% under the belief that Sunny likes Veah's tattoos. I think that Sunny has a really hard time telling his father that he is not as religious as he is. He has a really hard time telling his dad no. And I understand that when I stopped following the religion that I grew up with, I had a really hard time telling my grandparents that I wasn't religious anymore. And it took me a long time to tell them. But I do hope that he eventually learns to speak up for himself and gathers up the courage to tell his dad that this is not the life that he wants. At least that's what it seems like, because Sunny does come off as someone that is not as religious as his dad, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I just wish that he could gather up the courage to tell that to his father.
So in future, you have to take it off the tattoo.
This is when she tells him that that's not going to happen because her tattoos tell the history of her life. One of them represents her brother that passed away, and she doesn't want to take them off.
I just don't know if I'm comfortable removing my
But
tattoo.
when you feel comfortable, then you can remove after
2 months, 4 months, a year from now, you're gonna have to remove those tattoos. And when he reminds her that Sunny is Muslim,
So if Sunny say convert your religions, you will do that?
if Sunny is fine with whatever agreement he and Veah have come to, then it's no one else's business. But make it clear in your partnership that that is going to be the case. In this case, his dad is coming into this relationship telling Veah all the things that she has to do, but forgetting that his son doesn't follow the religion as closely as he does. There's also this moment where,
That's what you think? That's what you believe?
Yeah, I don't know. You wanted to see my dad, did you not?
and I mean, even though Sunny had told her that he didn't want this to happen just yet, he also agreed to it. And not only that, but he prepared so that things would go great, and they are not going great. They are actually going pretty bad right now.
Can you just get up, please?
I don't think there was anything wrong with her leaving, especially because dad was being very rude and judgmental. So I would have left too. And Sonny, when he starts talking to his dad and his dad is asking him, why did she leave? Sonny's just like, well, she's not used to feeling like this. She's not used to going through stuff like this. And dad, right off the bat, is like, well, I don't like that. You need to find a better wife. You need to find someone that listens to you. I don't think she did anything wrong. She tried her best to give his dad a good impression of her, and she stood her ground. I didn't want Veah to walk in there and lie to Sonny's dad and tell him, hey, yes, I am going to convert to Islam, or hey, yes, I'm gonna remove my tattoos. No, she stayed true to herself, and I can't blame her for that. So eventually Sonny walks away and he tells his dad that he's gonna go check on her. Once Sonny goes outside to meet with Veah, right off the bat, this is already starting wrong, especially because Sonny goes there and he's like, what were you expecting? I told you that I didn't want you to meet my dad just yet.
And running out the way she did, she just messed up everything.
Even though he knows that his dad was a little pushy. I'm just sitting there like, come on, Sonny. Like, you have to at least understand a little bit that what your dad did was extremely pushy, and you also don't want to follow your religion, so I don't know why you're making it such a big deal. So now Veah is trying to get an answer out of Sonny as to whether he wants her to convert, or is this just your dad saying that? And Sonny keeps avoiding the question.
I'm a little confused if Sonny wants me to convert. He's not really saying if he wants me to or not.
And it turns out that Sonny does want her to convert. And he tells us that he wishes he had that conversation with her before seeing his dad, because this is something that's non-negotiable for him. If Veah doesn't convert, he cannot marry her.
I was so scared of losing her. Now we are in bigger mess.
It makes me so frustrated to hear that, because you already know about all of Veah's traumas, about her past, about her telling you that she never wants to convert, she doesn't want to follow any religion, and you're over here telling her it's not a big deal, we don't need to talk about it, we'll figure it out later.
The truth is, if Veah doesn't convert her religion, I can't be with her.
What in the world? When did this happen? Because you never even said that. You never even talked about this. And that's what makes me frustrated about the situation. Sonny is also a little upset because he thinks that he was embarrassed in front of his dad.
You embarrassed
No,
me
I don't. I
in front
walked
of my
out
family.
because I was having an anxiety attack.
I think Veah's response was the best response for that situation. I think if Veah would have stayed and allowed Sonny's father to continue to tell her, you need to do this, you need to do that, then things would have gone south. And I think her stepping away was the best thing that could have happened. And even though Veah does feel sorry about how this played out, she is not sorry about walking out, and I wouldn't either. And for the preview, we see Veah and Sonny having the conversation.
If we are together, you have to change your religion. You have to.
I'm not becoming Muslim.
I don't really know what you guys were expecting out of this, because remember how previously you guys said, oh, we'll just figure it out later. Well, later has come, and you guys are on opposite sides of the coin. So I don't know where this is going. I hope that they don't get married. I hope that they end their relationship, because what in the world? This just came out of nowhere, that all of a sudden you want her to convert when you never brought it up. And Veah, did you not think of asking those questions and getting an answer before you even travel over there? This is ridiculous, but that is all for today. I'm gonna try my best to make 2 videos for this episode. I only covered these 3 couples because those are the ones that I'm interested on right now. I don't know how this week is going to look for me, so if you guys only get the last resort for the next video, then that's going to be all. I appreciate you guys a lot. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and to let me know your thoughts on this episode and on all the drama that just happened. Thank you guys, and have an awesome day. Bye.